Wait, stop the video. Detective Ryan Carter leaned closer to the glowing computer screen. The room was silent except for the soft hum of the police station lights. Everyone else had already given up. The case looked perfect. No fingerprints. No witnesses. No murder weapon. Nothing. The killer had planned everything. But Ryan's eyes stayed locked on one tiny detail in the security footage. A coffee cup. It sat on the kitchen counter for less than 2 seconds before the camera flickered away. Most people would never notice it. But Ryan did. Because the cup was upside down. And suddenly, Ryan realized something terrifying. The man they had trusted the entire time had lied about everything. Ryan grabbed the mouse and replayed the footage again. His heartbeat grew faster. "No," he whispered. "That's impossible." Behind him, Officer Jenna Brooks frowned. "What is it?" Ryan pointed at the screen. The killer made one mistake. At that exact moment, someone outside the police station pulled up in a black SUV. And inside that SUV was a man carrying a gun. 3 days earlier, the small town of Fairview looked peaceful as always. Kids rode bicycles down the sidewalks. Neighbors waved at each other from their porches. Nothing ever really happened there. That was why everyone trusted Daniel Reeves. Daniel was 32 years old, friendly, polite, and always smiling. He fixed computers at the local electronics shop and volunteered at church every Sunday. People said he was the kind of man you could leave your house keys with. Even 12-year-old Noah Bennett thought Daniel was cool. Noah lived across the street from Daniel with his mother, Lisa Bennett. Lisa worked long hours as a nurse, and Noah spent many afternoons helping neighbors with small chores to earn money. One warm Friday evening, Noah knocked on Daniel's front door carrying a toolbox. "You still need help fixing the garage shelf?" Noah asked. Daniel smiled warmly. "Sure do, buddy. Come in." The house smelled like fresh coffee and lemon cleaner. Everything looked neat and perfect. Too perfect. Noah followed Daniel into the garage. While Daniel searched for screws, Noah noticed something strange near the trash can. Mud. Dark, thick mud covered the floor near the back door. But it hadn't rained in days. "You go hiking or something?" Noah asked. Daniel froze for half a second before laughing nervously. "Oh yeah. Little fishing trip outside town." Noah nodded, but something about Daniel's face felt odd. His smile disappeared too quickly. A loud thump suddenly came from upstairs. Both of them looked toward the ceiling. Daniel's face turned pale. "What was that?" Noah asked. "Nothing," Daniel snapped. The sharpness in his voice shocked Noah. Daniel quickly forced another smile. "Probably the old pipes." But Fairview homes didn't have pipes that sounded like footsteps. Noah slowly backed away. "I should probably head home." Daniel stared at him for a long moment. Too long. Then he smiled again. "Sure. Thanks for helping." As Noah walked home, he glanced back at Daniel's upstairs window. For 1 second, he thought he saw someone standing behind the curtains, watching him. That night, rain finally came to Fairview. Thunder shook the streets while most people slept peacefully. At 2:13 a.m., police cars screamed through town. Red and blue lights flashed outside the home of Margaret Vance, a retired schoolteacher who lived alone. She was dead. Detective Ryan Carter arrived at the crime scene just before sunrise. Margaret's living room looked untouched except for one horrifying thing. Blood covered the carpet near the stairs. Officer Jenna Brooks handed Ryan a folder. "No forced entry." Neighbors heard nothing. Ryan studied the room carefully. A family photo lay broken near the couch. Margaret looked kind in the picture. Harmless. "So who would do this?" Jenna asked quietly. Ryan didn't answer. His eyes moved toward the kitchen. Everything looked spotless. Almost too spotless. Then he noticed something strange sitting beside the sink. A single coffee cup. Upside down. Ryan narrowed his eyes. Did crime scene already touch that? Jenna shook her head. "No." "Why?" Ryan walked closer. The bottom of the cup was completely dry. But every other dish in the kitchen was wet from the sink. Someone had washed the cup after the murder and placed it there carefully, like they were trying too hard to hide something. Ryan suddenly turned toward the back door. Tiny streaks of dark mud led outside into the rain. The same kind of mud Noah Bennett had seen earlier in Daniel Reeves' garage. And far away, hidden in the darkness beyond the trees, someone stood watching the police lights with cold, angry eyes. Then the figure quietly whispered, "You should have never noticed the cup." Rain poured harder over Fairview as Detective Ryan Carter stood outside Margaret Vance's house. Police lights flashed across the wet streets, turning the puddles red and blue. Ryan could not stop thinking about the coffee cup. It looked small, harmless, but something about it bothered him deeply. Most killers forgot little things because they panicked. But this killer had cleaned the house carefully. Too carefully. That meant the person stayed calm after the murder. And calm killers were dangerous. Officer Jenna Brooks walked beside him, holding her jacket over her head. Lab team says the mud near the back door came from Blackwood Creek. Ryan looked up quickly. That old fishing area outside town? Yeah. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Interesting. Because Daniel Reeves had told Noah Bennett he had gone fishing. Back across town, Noah sat at his kitchen table eating cereal while his mother rushed around getting ready for work. "You hear about Mrs. Vance?" Lisa asked softly. Noah nodded slowly. "Everybody's talking about it online." Lisa sighed. "Poor woman." Noah stared down into his cereal bowl. He wanted to tell his mom about Daniel's muddy garage and the strange noise upstairs, but part of him felt silly. Daniel was nice. Everyone liked him. Still, something felt wrong. Lisa grabbed her keys. "Lock the doors while I'm gone, okay?" "Okay." After she left, Noah looked out the window toward Daniel's house. The curtains were closed, but he had the strange feeling someone was standing behind them, watching him again. At the police station, Ryan replayed security footage from stores near Margaret's neighborhood. Hours passed with nothing useful. Then Jenna entered carrying fresh coffee. "You need sleep," she said. Ryan ignored the cup she offered. "Freeze that frame." Jenna paused the video from a gas station camera taken the night of the murder. A black SUV sat near the pumps. The driver's face was blurry, but Ryan noticed something hanging from the rearview mirror. A silver fish-shaped keychain. Ryan leaned closer. "Can you zoom in?" The image became grainy, but Ryan recognized it immediately. Blackwood Fishing Club. Only a few people in Fairview belonged to that club, and Daniel Reeves was one of them. Meanwhile, Daniel sat alone inside his dark house. The television played softly, but he barely watched it. His hands shook as he stared at his phone. News reporters talked about Margaret's murder non-stop. Daniel muted the TV angrily. Then he walked upstairs. At the end of the hallway sat a locked door. Daniel pulled a key from his pocket and opened it carefully. Inside the room, a young woman sat tied to a chair. Her face was pale from fear. "Please," she whispered weakly. "Let me go." Daniel crouched beside her calmly. "I told you already, Ava. I can't do that." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "My family's looking for me." Daniel's expression darkened. "That's exactly the problem." He stood and walked toward the window. Outside, he noticed movement across the street. Noah Bennett. The boy was staring directly at the house. For a second, Daniel and Noah locked eyes through the glass. Then Noah quickly walked away. Daniel's stomach tightened. At school later that day, Noah could not focus. His teacher's voice faded into the background while he kept thinking about Daniel's upstairs room. Footsteps. Someone watching from the curtain. The muddy floor. When the final bell rang, Noah hurried home through the cold afternoon wind. But halfway there, he froze. Daniel's black SUV slowly rolled beside him. The passenger window lowered. Daniel smiled. "Hey, Noah. Need a ride?" "No thanks," Noah said quickly. Daniel kept driving beside him. "You seem nervous." "I'm not." Daniel's smile faded slightly. "You didn't tell anyone about being at my house Friday, right?" Noah's heart pounded. "No." "Good," Daniel said softly. Then he drove away. Noah stood frozen on the sidewalk long after the SUV disappeared. Something was very wrong. That evening, Detective Ryan finally knocked on Daniel Reeves' front door. Daniel opened it wearing jeans and a gray sweater. "Come." "Friendly." "Perfect." "Detective," he said with a smile. "Can I help you?" Ryan studied him carefully. "Just asking questions about Margaret Vance." Daniel nodded sadly. "Terrible thing. You know her?" "Only from church." Ryan glanced past him into the spotless house. Then he noticed it. Near the garage door sat a pair of boots. Tiny pieces of dried black mud clung to the soles. The same mud from Blackwood Creek. Ryan looked back up slowly. "Mind if I come inside?" For the first time, Daniel's smile almost disappeared. And upstairs, hidden behind the locked door, Ava suddenly heard footsteps coming closer to her room. Daniel Reeves stood frozen in his doorway while Detective Ryan Carter waited outside in the cold evening air. For one long second, nobody moved. Then Daniel forced another smile. "Of course, Detective. Come in." Ryan stepped inside slowly, his sharp eyes studying every corner of the house. Everything looked clean and organized. Family photos sat neatly on shelves. The smell of lemon cleaner filled the air again. Too clean. People usually lived with a little mess. But Daniel's house looked like a picture from a magazine. Officer Jenna Brooks entered behind Ryan and quietly closed the door. Daniel folded his arms casually. "So what exactly do you want to know?" Ryan glanced toward the muddy boots near the garage door. "You went fishing recently?" Daniel nodded quickly. "Last week. At Blackwood Creek." "Yeah." Ryan walked farther into the living room. "Funny thing is, the mud at Margaret Vance's house came from there too." Daniel laughed softly. "Lots of people go there." Ryan did not smile back. Upstairs, Ava sat tied to the chair in the locked room, barely breathing. She could hear muffled voices below her. "Police." Her heart raced wildly. She tried to scream, but the thick tape over her mouth blocked the sound. Downstairs, Jenna noticed a framed photo on the wall. Daniel stood beside Margaret Vance at a church fundraiser. "You knew her better than you said," Jenna observed. Daniel shrugged. "Small town. Everybody knows everybody." Ryan slowly walked toward the staircase. Daniel stepped forward instantly. "Upstairs is messy." Ryan stopped halfway to the stairs and looked at him carefully. "Nervous about something?" "No," Daniel answered too fast. At that exact moment, a loud crash exploded from upstairs. Everyone froze. Daniel's face turned pale. Ryan immediately rushed up the stairs while Jenna followed behind him. "Wait!" Daniel shouted. Ryan ignored him. At the end of the hallway stood the locked door. Another crash came from inside. Ryan grabbed the knob. "Locked." "Open it," he ordered. Daniel stayed silent. Ryan's voice became harder. "Now." Slowly, Daniel pulled a key from his pocket. His hands trembled. The moment the door opened, Ava stumbled forward crying, her wrists tied tightly with rope. Jenna gasped. "Oh my God!" Ryan quickly removed the tape from Ava's mouth while Jenna untied her hands. "She kidnapped me," Ava sobbed. "He said he'd kill me if I screamed." Ryan turned sharply toward Daniel. But Daniel was gone. The back window at the end of the hallway swung open wildly in the wind. "He's running!" Jenna shouted. Ryan sprinted downstairs and burst outside just in time to see Daniel jump into his black SUV. The engine roared loudly. Tires screeched against the wet road as Daniel sped away into the night. Ryan grabbed his radio. Suspect fleeing north toward Blackwood Road. Police sirens screamed moments later. Inside the speeding SUV, Daniel gripped the steering wheel tightly. Panic filled his chest now. His perfect plan was collapsing. Everything had been controlled. Everything had been careful. Until that stupid boy saw the mud. Until the detective noticed the coffee cup. Daniel slammed the steering wheel angrily. Meanwhile, Noah Bennett sat inside his house watching TV when headlights suddenly flashed across his front window. He looked outside and froze. Daniel's SUV stopped directly in front of his home. "No," Noah whispered. Daniel stepped out slowly. Rain poured down his face as he walked toward the front door. Noah's hands shook violently. His mother still had not returned from work. He was alone. The doorbell rang once. Then again. Then pounding started. "Noah!" Daniel yelled from outside. "I just want to talk." Noah backed away in terror. The pounding grew louder. Crack. The front door splintered. Daniel forced his way inside. Noah ran upstairs 2 steps at a time while Daniel chased him through the dark house. "You shouldn't have said anything," Daniel screamed. Noah locked himself inside his bedroom and grabbed his phone with shaking hands. Downstairs, heavy footsteps climbed closer. Boom, boom, boom. Daniel slammed against the bedroom door. Wood cracked loudly. Noah dialed 911 with trembling fingers as tears streamed down his face. He's here," Noah whispered desperately. "Please hurry." Then the bedroom door exploded open. The broken bedroom door slammed against the wall as Daniel Reeves charged into the room. Noah screamed and stumbled backward, dropping his phone onto the carpet. Daniel's face looked completely different now. The friendly smile was gone. His eyes were wild and angry. "You ruined everything," Daniel shouted. Noah grabbed a desk chair and pushed it toward him. Daniel shoved it aside easily. Downstairs, police sirens screamed closer through the rainy streets. Daniel heard them too. His breathing became faster. "You should have stayed quiet," he growled. Noah backed toward the window. His heart hammered so hard it hurt. Daniel stepped closer slowly. "I tried to be nice." Suddenly, red and blue lights flashed through the bedroom walls. "Police!" a voice thundered outside. "Come out with your hands up." Daniel cursed under his breath. For 1 second, he looked trapped. Then his eyes landed on Noah. And Noah realized something terrifying. Daniel was not planning to surrender. Before Noah could move, Daniel grabbed him roughly and pulled him downstairs. "Let me go!" Noah cried. Daniel dragged him into the kitchen while police surrounded the house outside. Detective Ryan Carter stepped from his car with his weapon raised. Through the window, he saw Daniel gripping Noah tightly. Ryan's stomach dropped. Daniel pointed a kitchen knife at Noah's neck. "Back away!" Daniel screamed from inside. "Or the kid dies." Rain soaked Ryan's jacket as officers took positions around the house. Jenna stood beside him. "We need to move carefully." Ryan nodded slowly, keeping his eyes locked on Daniel. Inside, Noah trembled violently. "Please," he whispered. Daniel tightened his grip. "This wasn't supposed to happen." Ryan stepped closer to the porch carefully. "Daniel, listen to me. Let the boy go." Daniel laughed shakily. "You think I'm stupid?" "No," Ryan answered calmly. "I think you're scared." Daniel's expression darkened. "You have nowhere left to run." For a moment, Daniel looked uncertain. Then suddenly, he dragged Noah toward the back door. "He's moving!" Jenna shouted. Daniel burst outside into the storm, pulling Noah with him toward the black SUV parked behind the house. Police officers yelled commands. But Daniel shoved Noah hard toward the muddy ground and jumped into the driver's seat. The engine roared. Ryan sprinted forward. "Stop him!" The SUV tore away just as officers opened fire at the tires. But Daniel escaped into the dark streets again. Ryan helped Noah up from the mud. The boy was shaking badly. "You okay?" Ryan asked gently. Noah nodded weakly, though tears still rolled down his face. Ryan looked toward the disappearing SUV. "This ends tonight," he said quietly. An hour later, police searched Daniel's house completely. What they found shocked everyone. Hidden beneath the garage floor was a secret storage room. Inside were stacks of cash, fake driver's licenses, burner phones, and photographs of missing people from different states. Jenna stared at the wall in horror. "This guy's been doing this for years." Ryan slowly picked up one photograph. Margaret Vance. Written across the back were 3 words. "She found out." Ryan's jaw tightened. Margaret had not been a random victim. She had discovered Daniel's secret somehow, and Daniel killed her to keep her silent. Suddenly, another officer rushed downstairs. "Detective, you need to see this." Ryan followed him upstairs to Daniel's office. On the computer screen sat an open file. A map of Fairview. Several homes were circled in red, including Noah Bennett's house. But one address made Ryan freeze completely. Lisa Bennett's hospital. "What is this?" Jenna whispered. Ryan clicked another folder. A schedule appeared on screen. Dates, times, names. Daniel had been watching people for months. Planning, studying, choosing. And tomorrow night's target was already marked. Ryan's phone suddenly rang loudly. He answered immediately. "Carter." A terrified voice exploded through the speaker. It was Lisa Bennett. "Detective," she cried. "Someone just tried to grab me from the hospital parking lot." Ryan's blood ran cold. "Are you safe?" I locked myself inside my car, but—" Her voice suddenly cut off. Then came the sound of glass shattering. And a scream. "Lisa!" Detective Ryan Carter gripped the phone tightly as screaming and crashing sounds exploded through the speaker. Then the call went dead. Ryan ran for the door instantly. "Trace her phone now," he shouted. Officer Jenna Brooks grabbed her radio while Ryan jumped into his car. Rain hammered the windshield as police vehicles raced through Fairview toward the hospital. Ryan's mind spun wildly. Daniel Reeves had lost control completely. That made him more dangerous than ever. At the hospital parking lot, police lights flashed across rows of empty cars. Lisa Bennett's car sat near the far corner with the driver's door hanging open. Broken glass covered the ground. But Lisa was gone. "No!" Noah whispered from the back seat of Jenna's police car. He had begged to come because he could not bear waiting alone at home. Ryan crouched beside the shattered car and noticed muddy footprints leading toward the woods behind the hospital. Black mud. Blackwood Creek mud. Ryan stood immediately. He took her to the creek. Police officers rushed into the woods with flashlights cutting through the darkness. Thunder cracked loudly overhead. The deeper Ryan went into the trees, the quieter the world became. Then he saw it. A small wooden cabin near the creek. One dim light glowed inside. Ryan held up his fist, signaling officers to stop. Carefully, he moved closer to the cabin window. Inside, Lisa Bennett sat tied to a chair, crying softly. Daniel Reeves paced back and forth holding a gun. His calm smile was completely gone now. "You ruined everything," Daniel muttered angrily. "All because of one stupid mistake." Lisa trembled. "Please let me go." Daniel stopped pacing. "You know what the funny part is," he said quietly. "I almost got away with it." Outside, Ryan listened carefully. Daniel laughed bitterly. The police had nothing. Nothing. Then that detective notices a coffee cup sitting upside down. His face twisted with rage. "One tiny detail destroyed my entire plan." Ryan slowly raised his weapon. Inside the cabin, Daniel suddenly grabbed Lisa by the arm. "We're leaving." That was the moment Ryan kicked open the cabin door. "Police! Drop the gun!" Daniel spun around wildly. For one terrifying second, nobody moved. Rain crashed against the cabin roof. Lisa cried helplessly. Daniel pointed the gun directly at Ryan. "You should have left me alone," Daniel hissed. Ryan aimed steadily. "It's over." Daniel's finger tightened on the trigger. Bang! The gunshot exploded through the cabin. Lisa screamed. Police officers stormed inside from every direction. Daniel stumbled backward in shock. He looked down slowly at his shoulder where blood spread across his jacket. Ryan had fired first. Daniel dropped the gun onto the floor. Officers tackled him hard and forced handcuffs onto his wrists. "It's over," Jenna shouted. Daniel lay breathing heavily against the wooden floor. For the first time, fear filled his eyes. Not anger. Not confidence. Fear. Lisa rushed toward Ryan shakily while officers carried Daniel outside into the storm. Noah arrived moments later and hugged his mother tightly, both of them crying. "You're safe now," Ryan said softly. As police cars drove Daniel away, reporters gathered outside the woods asking endless questions. The next morning, news about the case spread across the entire country. People were shocked. Daniel Reeves had looked kind, friendly, and normal. But hidden beneath that smile was a criminal who had kidnapped people for years and murdered Margaret Vance after she uncovered his secret operation. Police later discovered that Margaret had recognized one of the missing women from a photograph hidden inside Daniel's church bag. She confronted him privately, threatening to call the police. That decision cost her life. But Daniel's perfect crime failed because of one tiny thing he never thought anyone would notice: an upside-down coffee cup. Weeks later, Fairview slowly returned to normal. Kids played outside again. Neighbors smiled again. But Noah Bennett never forgot that night. One evening, he visited Detective Ryan Carter at the police station. "You really figured it out because of the cup?" Noah asked. Ryan smiled slightly. "Bad people usually think big mistakes catch them." He handed Noah the old case photo showing the kitchen counter. "But sometimes," Ryan continued, "it's the smallest detail that destroys everything." Noah stared at the upside-down cup silently. A tiny mistake. One detail. And the end of a killer's perfect plan.